The modern woman lets men lead in his areas of expertise, experience, and superiority. And she leads in the situations where her expertise are superior, right? Thus making it two heads of the household, right? Now, that for me, I'm not modern. I'm not a modern woman because I'm from the most ancient people on the planet, right? So it's nothing modern about me. And this traditional, I'm gonna break this shit down. It's gonna really, really, really trip y'all out because 9 times out of 10, what I'm going to unveil, most people I've never heard nobody say shit when it comes to these two terms and these two labels, right? So, thus having two head of households, not one head of household. And again, I fuck with that because, and again, I don't know everything, and my man don't know everything. Neither one of us know everything, so there's gonna be some situations or some things that occur where I'm knowledgeable in that particular area, so I can handle that, right? And it's gonna be some things that, of course, he knows that I don't know, and that's where he leads at, right? See, these situations cause. Let me tell you something. The so-called traditional woman, when she go out on a date with her man, say they go bowling. She even, let's just say she was on a bowling team and all that kind of shit, prior to them getting together, or learn how to bowl as a child, going bowling with her parents or whatever. And she could cream him bowling, but she'll never do it. Right? The traditional woman will never sit down and play a video game with her husband and whip his ass in that game. She know better. She know better. And y'all know I'm telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't, all of these sentiments don't resonate with me, but I'm sharing them with you all for a reason so I can get to the meat of the discussion. Okay. We got number 8. The modern woman cooks and places food in plates on family dinner table, and we all eat and prepare our plates together. We pass it around, right? That's something else. You know what I'm saying? That should be okay with the family, right? But the traditional woman cooks and makes husband's plate first, because remember, she don't work, right? And caveat, some of my brothers, y'all have to stop acting like you have a housewife. You don't have a housewife. Some of you. A lot of you have women that go out and work every day just like your ass. So certain things aren't to be expected. Me, I don't have a problem with making my dude a plate, but I don't do it because he don't always eat all of his food. So if I make you a plate and I pile all this food on and you throw you know what I'm saying? It's a waste. It's a waste. I prefer him to make his own plate. I cook. You understand? We don't really have a lot of opportunities to sit down at the family table and have dinner because we're both handling business. All right? So, we might go to dinner as, at a restaurant sometimes as a family. I don't really like restaurants. I prefer to cook. Right? So I know what I'm getting. Nobody else is touching my food. And my energy is on my food. I've sued 2 restaurants. So imagine, it's a convenience in it. But, when you have, drunk glass and had fingernails in your fucking food, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I sue. Right? These restaurants is terrible, y'all. And now we know with the food, it's horrible. So what I got for number 9? Now number 9, because I only wrote 9. Number 9 is something that I addressed on a couple of posts, in a couple of threads, right? This shit right here. For the modern woman, they say children are her number one priority. They come first, right? And the traditional woman says her husband is her number one priority, and then the children are secondary, which is, where this making his plate first before everybody eats kind of comes from. The traditional woman, again, not working. She's a housewife, homemaker, stay-at-home mom, right? So, the women who I had these discussions with, they were like, she was like, he's the one who provides, so he should eat first, right? He's the provider, so he should eat first. Why would I feed the children first? Okay, that's your prerogative. Let me say that. And again, and like I just said, a lot of you all have women who go out and work just like you do. They're not stay-at-home wives, right? I'm saying, but again, some women, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't care who you make the plate first. You understand? My concern is when you start talking about, the husband comes before the children. Like, hold on, what world are we living in? First and foremost, the purpose of you coming into a union and making a commitment with the opposite sex is to procreate, number one. Number two, those children are yours. Them children that you created are literally you and your husband running through there. You understand? That is yours. So in my right mind, I don't see how that makes sense to say my husband come before my children. Or if you a man, my wife come before my children. Your children are you. So you telling me the very purpose of you and this woman or you and this man getting together, again, that union was specifically for y'all to procreate, right? Because if y'all was just gonna do business, believe me, I know what a marriage license is. I know what all of that shit is. I know the difference between a marriage license and a marriage certificate, and doing it through your own nation or tribe. You understand? It's a union. You coming together. This can't come together. This can't come together, but this comes together, right? Made to be together, to make some more use. So you mean to tell me your mini-me's, which is you and your husband running around, come second? No, they're you. Y'all all come first at the same time because y'all all the same people. Again, this wave, right, is like the final nail in the coffin to the ancient holy divine trinity of mother, father, child. Mother, father, children. Mother, father, heirs, descendants. So you mean to tell me, and maybe that's a reason, some of these traditional women, they, don't be involved in finances. So when I speak of descendants and heirs and your children, your purpose as well as it is to create generational wealth for them. But if you putting them second and talking about they second, you don't even realize that they are you and they came out of you, but you don't know that the children are you. You putting yourself second and third. Is what you're doing. Now, let's get on this modern and traditional shit. And we gonna start with the traditional. When you say you're a traditional woman, and my bad, y'all, I'm gonna put some comments on the screen. When you say you're a traditional woman, that's not a complete statement. Like, okay, you're a traditional woman, okay, of what tradition? What tradition? You just saying that you're traditional. Well, what's your tradition? What tradition are you talking about? Are you talking about Christian traditions? Are you talking about Yoruba traditions, or Igbo traditions, or Cherokee traditions, Apache traditions, Washita, Yamasee? You talking about Iroquois tradition? I mean, you just can't put that out like that, because we won't be able to recognize where those traditions come from. You understand? To be able to put them in their proper context. Like, for example, let me just pick anything. Obeys, right? So if you're a traditional woman and you obey your husband, that sounds like you're a Christian. So you are a Christian traditional. Say what it is. So these set of behavioral labels, patterns, or whatever you want to call it, it came from somewhere. So again, when you say traditional woman, you have to complete that cipher, right? Say, for instance, you are a Jehovah's Witness. Then all of these traditional labels, or things that so-called traditional American women, black women, or melanated women, indigenous women do, autochthonous, aboriginal, say some more, you know what I'm saying, women, their behavior, so to speak, right? This wouldn't be relevant. All of it wouldn't be relevant to a Jehovah's Witness. The same way the women who some of you all say are modern because they're independent. Everything, all of these behavior patterns don't fit all the women who you're saying is or are modern women. It doesn't. This doesn't fit every woman. So with that being said, message to the passport brothers: you have judged an entire nation of women based off of the women that you've interacted with. Let me say, and especially, like I said, y'all ain't too easy on the eyes, so let me say this. You as a man, one man, have not even interacted with 1% of all of the melanated women in your age range. You haven't. You don't even know 1% of all of the melanated women who are single and available. You haven't interacted with more than 1%. So with that being said, it's incompetent what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? It's very incompetent, because you going to a whole another country, but you've only interacted with 1% of single melanated women. So based off of that 1% of melanated women that you, one man, have interacted with, you've come to the conclusion that the women who look like me and look like my mother and my grandmother and my ancestors ain't for me. You know, it sounds like some lame shit to me, because, and I'm gonna say this the smoothest way that I possibly can for the situation that I'm currently in while I'm trying to do this right here with y'all. Every man who I know and who have came up with and were established enough to be and polished enough to be able to support a wife and children, when they break up or divorce a woman, they don't sweat that shit. They don't cry. They'll tell you, about to cry over no woman. All these women in Detroit, all these beautiful women in Detroit, about to. No man, I don't know no man that's a fucking passport boy.